Quick reminder, the course coupon code expires in 2 days. The prices will go up. Check out that coupon code, check out the bundles. And just this morning, I spent over probably $800,000 buying stocks for private course members, showing you exactly my moves live as I was making them. I'd love to see you in the daily live streams. Hey everyone, me Kevin here. This morning I loaded up on 1,600 shares of NIO and I bought a 20 call options, January 2023 call options at a 65 strike. So for NIO, I'm getting pretty committed here. This is now growing in my portfolio. But folks, NIO's doing something here to stay competitive and it's pretty ingenious and it's a shift. Let's talk about what happened here, what this means for Tesla, and well, let's just get into it. So let me catch you up first a little bit. So NIO and Tesla are head-to-head, obviously, here. We know this. They're going on an all-out war against each other, even though we know that NIO says in their earnings call, no, we don't see Tesla as competition. We see Tesla as competition against ICE vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles. And basically, the more people buy EVs, hey, you know what? That's more market share for us in the future. Now, maybe that's just the diplomatic way of saying, no, more power to you, Tesla. But NIO is doing absolutely everything in their power to stay at pace and try to exceed Tesla. Now, Tesla just introduced the Model Y for pre-orders in China, which competes almost directly with NIO's 3 primary vehicles. However, NIO in 3 days on NIO Day is expected to announce the ET7, which competes directly with Tesla's made-in-China Model 3. Now, don't get me wrong, Tesla still sells 2.5 times the cars that NIO does on a monthly basis, and Tesla's production facilities are at a way faster ramp rate at Giga Shanghai than what NIO could expect to be at now with JAC, which is their manufacturing partner that they have a 5-year contract with. But NIO's fan base is growing, and now we've got these manufacturers competing against each other head-to-head here in both vehicle spaces. Tesla's got the Model 3, NIO's gonna have the ET7. Tesla's got the Model Y, NIO's got 3 SUV lines and crossovers or vehicles. But NIO's fan base here, it's blowing up for a couple reasons, and I want to talk about those 2 reasons very briefly, and I want to introduce this Wall Street Journal video, which you have not seen it yet. You gotta see it. After I show you this, I gotta tell you the change that NIO is making here to stay up to speed with Tesla here. But let's jump into this because I'm gonna add commentary on this. This was a really good video by the Wall Street Journal. Tesla versus NIO, battle for the world's largest EV market. Whew, I'm just excited off that title. Let's watch it.
Out of juice, only 42 kilometers range left, and that's why we need to come here.
That's the swap station.
When Jeff Shaw needs to get his car refueled,
师傅，你要来吗？
he doesn't go to a gas station, and not always one that charges electric vehicles. Instead, he goes to a battery swap station. In about 5 minutes, he can have his EV battery replaced with a fully charged one that has a driving range of up to 260 miles, more than enough for the 42-year-old's daily commute to work.
好的，是吧？啊，好，谢谢啊。
I mean, it's so brilliant. It's just so brilliant. And they're going to talk about Elon Musk and how he U-turned away from this, saying Americans don't want it. I don't know. I hate the idea of what if my battery bricks one day in the future? I don't know. And I own the original Tesla Roadster. I'm worried about that thing right now. It's sitting outside and I haven't charged it in 5 days. And I'm like, if that battery bricks, that's 30 grand out of my pocket. Ugh. You don't have that with
way
swapping.
faster than the gas station experience, I think. Let's go.
Wow.
Shaw is driving a NIO, a rising star in China's electric vehicle market. Once on the brink of bankruptcy, the startup was bailed out by the government and has since seen its shares soar.
Yep.
At the end of 2020, NIO was worth more than General Motors, ranking as the world's 5th most valuable automaker. And that has a lot to do with its batteries.
就是车电分离，不光是技术上可以分离，产权上也应该能分离。
In other words, a NIO customer doesn't need to buy the vehicle with the battery, and so far, it's the only automaker in China to do this.
It's honestly brilliant. The fact that you can lower the price of the car without actually removing amenities from the car. Think about that. The fact that you buying the battery on a lease separately from the vehicle doesn't mean you're not getting navigation. You're not taking out the sunroof. I don't know if there's sunroofs in this. I'm just saying you're not taking out options, right? You're still getting the same car. You're just getting it for cheaper, and then you lease the battery. But then that gives you all this optionality of, okay, well, I got the 75 kilowatt hour. Now I'm going to go to the 150 kilowatt hour battery. Hey, if in the future they come out with a bigger battery pack, boom, I'll take that one. It's incredible.
Many investors say NIO's commercial strategy is revolutionary. So as Tesla speeds ahead as the market leader in China, should it be worried?
And there's the battery pack getting swapped out.
NIO isn't the first electric vehicle company to try switching out the battery.
You have the choice of a battery pack swap, which is faster than you can fill a gas tank.
In 2013, Tesla demoed its battery swap technology, and the following year built a trial swap station in California.
Voila!
Tesla later...
And I remember seeing this and thinking it was so brilliant back when he did it. Kind of sad that they killed this, and they only had, one trial location. So I don't know if this is Elon being stubborn here, but people in China seem to love the swapping.
Dropped the project, saying drivers weren't interested in swapping their batteries because the supercharging stations were fast enough.
I'll tell you, and sorry I keep interrupting here, but as a Model X owner, and I had the Model X before the Model 3 existed, right? When I went to the battery charging stations, oh my gosh, it was like paradise. There was nobody there. It was just the Model S's and X, which are like 80 to 100 grand, so there's a barrier to entry there, and I'm not trying to be like, I don't know, elitist here, pat on the back, I got a Tesla. No. I'm just making the point here. It was nice going to the charging stations. Now, you go to a charging station in LA, you sit in line for 45 minutes before you can freaking plug in. It's horrible. It's horrible. Horrible.
Even as these chargers can take more than 75 minutes to fully power a car.
We'll be expanding the supercharger network quite substantially over time.
Despite Tesla pulling the plug on battery swaps, its Chinese rival NIO is moving ahead with the technology.
So then this dude talks about how he thinks battery swapping will make NIO competitive against Tesla. I can link the whole video down below, you could watch it, but let's just keep going.
For a flat fee of about $150 a month, NIO drivers can get 6 battery replacements at more than 160 battery swap stations across China.
When you drive these gasoline vehicles, their service come to the end when...
I'm gonna pause there really quick. So there is a limit on how much you can swap. So keep that in mind. But quite frankly, I mean, how many swaps do you need a month, right? I guess it depends on like to me, it seems like something you would use when you're traveling. Like if I'm going from where I live to LA, it'd be very useful to just be able to swap. Especially since I always get stuck in LA trying to charge.
Or the dealer deliver the car to you. But for NIO, it's a very different experience.
NIO drivers also have other battery options like charging at home or using an app to request a charging truck to show up.
That's insane. They literally have a mobile truck that if you run out of battery, they will come with a mobile battery truck. They'll charge you up, like they'll juice you up for 15 minutes so you get enough battery to get like to a charging station. I actually had my Model X die once at my house. My battery or my charging station failed. It said like charging not available or some crap like that. Anyway, the car had 40 miles left on it at night. I park it in the garage. The next morning, I got to go to an appointment, and I'm like, no problem. I'll take the car. I'll drive it to the charging station, and I'll charge it up. Turn the car on. The thing has 1 mile of range left on it. I'm like, what? They had to tow me.
Its services and stations in China fall far short of what's needed to convince the world's largest EV market to uptake battery swap vehicles. Just compare the number of NIO's battery swap stations to Tesla's supercharging stations in the country, and the more than 2,000 stations it has worldwide. And this is where the government comes into play.
Battery swap now is getting more attention, right? Looking into the policy support behind it.
Zhu Gang is an auto consultant based in Shanghai. He says in the long run, government policy will likely determine how the EV industry in China develops. Beijing already has a 2035 goal for broad EV adoption in the country.
Basically, I'm going to stop the video here. I encourage you to watch the rest of this video, but they pretty much just talk about how China's like all in. And even Elon Musk is like, I want to thank Shanghai for all their support, and the Chinese government, basically, they're all in and they're super supportive. Okay, so now, what did what did NIO just change? Because NIO just made a change. Oh, and quickly, I want to finish my thought because I started by saying there are 2 reasons people are loving NIO so much. Battery swapping, big one, right? Number 2, the second reason they're getting so much traction is the high referral rate amongst customers. Even Deutsche Bank is like, wow, their referral rate is going up even though they're delivering more cars. And that's really good, that customer-to-customer referral rate. Anyway, these 2 things combined are definitely going to create some issues for Tesla. This is why I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla considers bringing some of that battery swapping back. Although it's going to be interesting because Tesla's going to the structural battery, so I don't know if they're going to be capable of doing a battery swap technology. It certainly would potentially change some of the engineering implications. So I know Elon is very focused on bringing margin down, cost margin, so that profit margins go up, expense margin goes down. And I don't think if he's going to go with a structural battery direction to keep margins high, basically, profit margins high, expense margins low, I don't think he's going to end up trying to reinvent this wheel and then go from structural battery to, okay, maybe 50% is structural, but 50% can be swapped out, piece it. I don't know. I think that then we get way too complicated, and that's just going to cause too many issues. So this might literally be an example here where if you want battery swapping, your only option ends up being NIO. For everyone else, the battery technology could get to a point with Tesla, and this is probably the direction Tesla's going to go. The battery technology could get to a point where it's like, well, you don't need to swap because you've got these new high-quality batteries, where it's an issue now. We don't have these new batteries yet, but these new high-quality batteries, maybe you get 600-mile range, and you actually get 600 miles, unlike now when you charge up to 240 miles and you get like 180. But even if you had a 600 as a threshold and you got 500, it's still amazing. You probably wouldn't need to swap. So that might be where Elon's head is. Hey, swapping, great idea, but we're going structural battery to have our profit margins be strong in the long run, and our battery technology is going to be so great in the future we won't need to swap. Maybe. But for this transition period, NIO's going to get a lot of customers with that swap technology. I think it's really smart. So it's good for NIO, and maybe it's a good thing that Tesla doesn't get into that. Now, to be clear, before I talk about this change, 3 to 4%, probably I'm trying to get this up to 5% of my portfolio, my stock portfolio is in NIO and NIO options. 55% of my portfolio is in Tesla. So let me just be ultra clear with my biases here, okay? I'm a Tesla bull, but I can't just put my head in the sand and say that NIO isn't succeeding where Tesla's not able to convert those customers. Some of that could potentially be because of quality as well, right? Some people, you hear this, it's becoming more regular that people are going from having owned a Tesla in China to potentially going over to a NIO and falling in love because the quality control is a little bit better. Some people say a lot better. We'll see. But in the news, to stay a lot more competitive with Tesla, NIO is now following Tesla's lead into using CATL's lithium iron phosphate batteries. Iron is the key word here. So just to clarify this, CATL is just a big battery production facility in China. It's the largest one that exists in China. It's huge. It also makes batteries for Mercedes, BMW, Hyundai, and Tesla. Tesla's Model 3, and I'm pretty sure their Model Y is using this as well. Actually, I'm almost certain their Model Y is using this as well. They use these lithium iron phosphate batteries. And these are deemed to be cheaper than what we use here in the American-made Teslas. Now, the iron phosphate batteries, they had a bad reputation. They weren't as stable, they weren't as safe. They didn't have the best reputation in the past, but they've gotten safer and more stable. The technology has gotten better. So you're able to have a better, cheap battery, basically. So we're trying to figure out how can you make something that's cheap still have quality so that it's good enough, right? And that's these lithium iron phosphate batteries. Again, iron being that keyword here. And there's a rumor out that Tesla's margin on the Tesla made in China Model Y could be as high as 30%. 30% profit margin on the Model Y. Their current profit margin on the American-made vehicles merged with the Chinese production is like 26%, 25, 26% with margin, with vehicle credits, like the energy credits. Without energy credits, you fall to like 23% margin. And it's partially this 30% potential margin. It's a rumor right now, but if that's true, it's going to probably be in part due to these lithium iron phosphate batteries. They're just cheaper to manufacture. And so the news is that NIO has now announced that they are going to follow Tesla's lead here, and they are going to release models of the Neo with the less expensive battery. So that way, if customers want to buy the car with the battery, they have the option of getting a less expensive car with a less expensive battery. So it reduces barriers to entry again for customers to come in. And probably at the same time, NIO's going to share on some additional profit margin in that. Now, NIO does have about a 40% take rate on the battery swapping service. So 40% of NIO's customers aren't going to care if it's the cheaper battery or the more expensive battery. But you can bet in the battery swapping, they'll probably just use the cheaper batteries. And that's going to make the battery swapping setup actually more affordable for NIO long run. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they use the cheaper ones? Usually, that's my expectation, that they'll be able to milk more margin out of the BaaS, B-A-A-S, battery as a service systems because of this this new decision to also use these batteries that Tesla is using. Now, CATL uses a lot of different batteries. They're also trying to innovate so that way they can compete with Tesla's new batteries. So you've got some serious competition brewing in China, and that's exactly why I want to get my NIO exposure. You know, I don't know that I'm going to go much higher than 5-ish% as a total portfolio on NIO, because you do still have risk factors. It's still a foreign company. And I don't want to have or come across as always having a home bias, which means you just invest in the United States. But we don't know what regulatory implications there could be. With a Biden and Democratic sweep here, though, probably less of a concern. So we'll see. We shall see. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing to the video. Make sure to check out the courses down below so you can join me on the private live streams and use that coupon code. You could also use the coupon code on the bundles that are listed on the page down below. The prices will go up after the 8th. Thank you so very much for watching, and folks, we'll see you in the next video.